Hi, everybody. Welcome to Shiver Speaks. For our Artist of the Month for June, we are talking about the Grimm brothers, or Brothers Grimm. They are Jacob Grimm and Wilhelm Grimm. They were German academics, cultural researchers, linguists, folklore collectors, and writers. They established a methodology for collecting and recording folk stories that became the foundation for folklore studies. Both brothers were born and raised in Hanu in the Landgrave of Hesse Castle within the Holy Roman Empire, which is just present-day Germany. Jacob was born on January 4th, 1785, and Wilhelm was born the following year on February 24th, 1786. They were born to Philip Wilhelm Grimm and Dorothy Grimm, and they were the two eldest siblings out of 9. In 1791, the family moved to the countryside in a town called Steno, where the brothers enjoyed playing in the open fields surrounding their home. They got a strict Lutheran education at home from private tutors and later attended local schools. After their time at University of Marburg, the brothers split up for some time. Jacob accepted a job in Paris as a research assistant to provide for the rest of his family. He went on to become a librarian in Kassel, where Wilhelm joined him after seeking treatments for his heart and respiratory ailments. At this time, they also began to collect old books and asked friends and acquaintances to tell them tales, which they gathered and intended to use to write a book on German history. In 1830, they moved to Göttingen, where they both got jobs at University of Göttingen, Jacob as a professor and head librarian, and Wilhelm as a professor. The brothers were directly influenced by Bertano and von Arnim, who edited and adapted the folk songs of Des Knaben Wunderhorn, or The Boy's Magic Horn. They began to collect lots of different stories and scholarly tales, preserving the stories that they had been handed down from generation to generation, a practice threatened by increased industrialization. The brothers saw fragments of old religions and faiths reflected in these stories, which they thought continued to exist and survive through the telling of these stories. From 1807 onward, the brothers added to their own personal collection of fairy tales, later to be called the Grimm fairy tales. Jacob established the framework maintained through many iterations. From 1815 until his death, Wilhelm assumed sole responsibility for editing and rewriting the tales. He made the tales stylistically similar, added dialogue, removed pieces that might detract from a rustic tone, improved the plots, and incorporated psychological motifs. Ronald Murphy writes in The Owl, the Raven, and the Dove that the brothers, particularly Wilhelm, also added religious and spiritual motifs to the tales. He believed that Wilhelm gleaned bits from old Germanic faiths, Norse mythology, Roman and Greek mythology, and biblical stories that he reshaped. Hansel and Gretel, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Snow White, Rapunzel, Rumpelstiltskin, all of these were originally written by the Grimm brothers and added to over time. Younger brother Wilhelm died at the age of 73 on December 16th, 1859. The older brother Jacob died at the age of 78 on September 20th, 1863. That is a little bit about the Grimm brothers. They have an extensive history of working together in different types of educational societies. They were heads of many different universities all across Europe, but primarily stayed around Germany, any areas that were around Germany. Their story started coming over to the United States in the mid-1900s, so more recent than not. And a lot of their stories are upkept by family members or people who are in their lineage. So that's a little bit about them. Let me know if you've heard their stories before. I could talk about them all day. A lot of their stories, like Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, Snow White, they all were the influences for Disney. So it's very interesting to me that Disney has chosen to take some of these more grim and horror-based folklorish stories and turn them into very innocent children's stories. For me, it makes you question, was the intention to turn these into innocent stories and change the ending, or was it to have some underlying secret horror message? The conspiracy theorist in me says the latter, but I'll let you make your own decision on that one. So that is it for our message today. Check out the meetup page under Shivers Haunted. We have a lot of upcoming events, most of which can be done online. So you're welcome to join from anywhere in the world. Just send me a message and we'll make it happen. Other than that, we have a couple of really cool things coming up. I am almost done with the second murder mystery story that I have written, so I will be starting to sell some of those soon, so you can start hosting your own murder mystery parties, which I think is really exciting. So stay tuned for more, check out the events, and as always, thank you for listening.